Hi, everyone. Welcome to Wellness Wednesdays with me, Yehudis Schamroth, the nurse of many years who was doing anesthesia for a number of years, and now I do acupuncture and Chinese medicine here in Ramat Beit Shemesh, the beautiful holy country of Israel. Thank you for joining me today. As you know, if you've seen me before, I do wellness topics and health and wellness topics every single week. Sometimes interview people, and sometimes I just review my own subject matter. You can see all previous for the last year. There's about 50 of these webinars available on my YouTube channel, RBS Acupuncture, on the YouTube channel. And I have a Facebook page. I will put all the details up later. Today's topic is how to make a natural first aid kit. I think this is a very interesting topic, and a lot of people are very interested in it. And I myself, of course, coming from the nursing background that I come from, I know a lot about first aid, obviously, and I've been teaching it for many years to students and adults of all types, for all reasons. I teach CPR also, which I think I can cover another time, but I don't know if that's really appropriate for this. If anybody's interested in that kind of topic, please let me know. I can also talk at length about wound treatment and really advanced first aid if you're interested. But this is just going to be, this is not a first aid course or discussion as much as it is what herbs are available for first aid. And you can keep them in your home. A lot of them, you can find them in your kitchen. And some of them you have to go out and buy special, but you can keep you can keep 2 first aid kits around. That's what I do. I keep my regular first aid kit around, and I keep my herbal first aid kit along with it. So without further ado, I'm going to share the screen, and I'm going to start my slideshow, and we'll talk about how to make an herbal first aid kit. Okay, is that blinking for you? Because it's blinking for me. Don't know why. Okay, let's see if we can see something else here. Okay, stopped. All right, it stopped. Okay, if everybody can hear me now too. I hope everybody can hear. Okay. In the comments section, I'll put down a lot of information about my website, about my phone number. You can reach me and ask me some questions. You can also, I will post the list of the basics you can put in your first aid kit and what was written by problem alone. I mean, first off, because I think people have a hard time. They know they have all these different things, but they don't know what they're used for. So my cheat sheet is going to be posted to direct you to the problem first and then what to use for it. So, despite our best attempts to live a toxin-free life, there are times when illness or injury will strike. And in some of these cases, like trauma, conventional medical treatment is certainly warranted. And I'm certainly grateful for the medical treatment that I have available to help people with, and the training that I received. I've been a medical instructor for many years, and over 30 years as a nurse, and I always reach for my traditional first aid kit. Always, if there's somebody runs in the house with a bleeding hand or with a burn or something like that. But I can tell you that also I have my herbal kit available as well. So I just want to say a little bit about emergencies. Again, this is not going to be a webinar that discusses first aid, at length. I'm going to just a little bit briefly about it because I think it's important to note here that you have to know what to do in an emergency and try to educate yourself. Try to take a first aid course, basic one. Look at it online. People are always, you can find anything on the internet these days, obviously. But whenever I go anywhere, I always have a proper first aid kit with me first when I'm traveling or when I'm in the house, no matter where I am. Because I teach CPR and support breathing and all that kind of stuff. This is what we want to make sure we do. Even if you're not really trained, if you come across a big emergency, you need to know how to control bleeding, support breathing, and perform CPR. So, I hope that you take that opportunity to learn that, and I can teach it sometime online also. So what goes into a standard first aid kit anyway? This is all over the internet. This is what I found are the 10 top things to have in your first aid kit: gloves and eye protection, CPR pocket mask if you can get one, a tourniquet to control bleeding, rolling gauze pads, medical tape, triangular bandages to make a sling, a SAM splint is for the legs, elastic bandages to just make a compression wherever is needed, whether it's over a burn or over a break or over bleeding, and trauma shear so you can cut the person's pants or shirt or something if you need to get to the body part you're trying to take care of. So again, this is not going to be a class on how to do any of that stuff, but I just want people to know that you should know how to do something in an emergency, because you may be the very person that can really save someone's life. And again, other first aid supplies will be patch bandages for the eye patches, if somebody gets something spilled in their eye or if they have a corneal abrasion. Butterfly bandages keep the wound together. Lots and lots of gauze pads. There's all kinds of called super glue for the skin called new skin and things like that. You can even, it's better than putting sutures together sometimes. A hot water bottle is nice to have, an enema kit. I don't know if that's necessary. A bulb and syringe, sometimes to rinse out the nose, and homemade ice packs. You can't replace ice packs for when people have a sprain in their ankle or they hurt to break their nose or anything. It's really nice to have. And again, if it's a true emergency, okay, you need to call for help. You need to know when to call for help, okay? These are the things you're going to call for an emergency. Now, in Israel, our emergency number is 101. And in America, your emergency number is 911. And I can tell you that the great news is in Israel is that over the years, Magen David Adom, which is the main emergency services center here, along with Hatzalah, which is a different branch, but also very fantastic and effective for treating running to emergencies with their ambulances. So if you dial 911 by mistake here in Israel, you will still get 101. You'll still get the emergency services. So thank God for that. They figured out there's so many Americans here. We can really, at least, if you're nervous and anxious and you can't remember 101 in Israel, if you dial 911, you'll still get to the operator and she'll send out an ambulance or he will. So these are the things, of course, that are true emergencies. And that's just not as if, it's really not to be taken for granted. People don't really know sometimes. And actually kids that are babysitting should take these courses also because they don't know sometimes when to call for help if they're taking care of a baby. You really have to educate the kids and request that your babysitters and your kindergartens and places like that have proper education for first aid for your little children. So, of course, cardiac arrest, asthma, hyperventilation, choking, severe bleeding, severe burns, and amputation. I mean, these things go without saying, but some people, it's not so obvious to everyone. Amputation, poisoning, seizures, and if people have a seizure and they don't bump their head or something, you're helping them out. It's really still good to call for help because you don't know if this has been a very bad seizure that could cause some brain damage. And even if it's somebody who has seizures frequently, if it's not your child or not your friend, or not your family member that you know well, it's really better to call. And it's okay if you have to pay, $100 for the ambulance. In my opinion, that's what I always advise people. If you have a question, call the ambulance because they will talk you through something over the phone, or they will actually show up if you need them. And again, in Israel, we have an organization called Hatzalah where you don't have to pay even. So really, why not just call? I mean, you don't know if this person really needs your help. You don't know if the seizure is because maybe they have diabetes. Maybe they're going into diabetic shock. You don't know anything of what's really going on with them if it's a stranger on the street, especially. So any drowning, electrocution, gas poisoning, severe bone breaks. I'm not talking, even like a broken finger or something, but if you have a broken leg or something sticking out of the arm, you have to call for help. You have to call an ambulance. If you've got a fever in a baby, especially over 40 or 102 for over a few hours, you need to call for help. You need to take them to the doctor at least. And some people have allergic reactions to food, drugs, and snake bites. You have to be very, very cautious of these. Snakes are also a very big thing in Israel. We get calls all the time for kids, adults, everybody getting bitten by snakes. And it's no joke. The people can go into anaphylactic shock from allergy to the snake bite. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. Okay, so, and again, there's also one more thing is drug overdose too. I don't have that on there. I don't know why, because I always discuss that, but okay, you don't know if the person's unconscious. If somebody's unconscious, call for help. Just don't sit there and worry about it. And again, what you can do. What can you do? What can you do in an emergency? Okay, let's say you're not trained. You have to know this much, okay? Assess the situation quickly and call for the appropriate help. Again, if there's a question, if you don't know what to do, calling your mother or your girlfriend or your husband is great. But if it's an emergency, you really should call 101 or 911 if any of those previous things that I mentioned are happening. You want to protect yourself and the person from further harm or danger. For instance, if there's something in the middle of the road, you don't want to move somebody ever, but if you have to move them so they don't get hit by a car, you have to. And you have to do that for your own sake as well. You want to, if there's somebody's got poisonous gas in the house, you have to get them out of the house. You want to make sure there's no glass shards around if a window broke or something. You have to protect yourself from danger, but don't do anything that's going to endanger you at all, because you're not really obligated to hurt yourself or to kill yourself for someone else in a way, even religiously speaking. You're obligated to take care of yourself, but you can try to keep yourself and others safe in an emergency situation. If you can, try to remain calm and reassuring, because if you're with a person and they were like hit by a car, God forbid, or they hit their head, or they're bleeding, or they're burnt, all these different things, or they're not breathing well, if you can be the calm person and the reassuring person, that goes such a long way. That goes just as far as making that emergency phone call, because you hold that hand of that person and you tell them everything's going to be okay. And the person can calm down and relax. And then when the emergency services gets there, they can take over. They can take over for you, and the person can have a much better chance of recovery. You can give whatever treatment if you know how, whatever's the best. If you have bleeding, you have to push your hand down and compress the wound. Of course, there's things that we can do. I'll discuss as we go on. Again, not a first aid class, but I would like to do it one time. And you want to do whatever you can do to help the person. And you want to stay with the person until help arrives. Don't just make a phone call and leave. I think that's sort of considered very reckless behavior. You wouldn't want that done for you. You want to report your observations to people taking over. So you want to tell everything that's happening. So again, not a first aid class, but I just wanted to talk about emergencies just for a minute, because some people are just not aware of what they should do when there's an emergency. Again, here are the things you really must call the ambulance for. You must. Cardiac arrest, asthma, choking, bleeding, burns, amputation, poisoning, seizures, drowning, electrocution, gas poisoning, diabetes where someone's in a coma, bone breaks that are really severe and bleeding, fever for babies especially, allergic reaction. Please call the ambulance and don't worry about paying for it, because you would rather save this person's life if you can, and especially if you have no training. And know these numbers. And again, I'll repeat one more time that if you're in Israel and you forget because you're nervous in an emergency, that you call 911, it'll still direct you to 101, because there are so many Americans here, thank God, in this country. So it's a very big thing for us. It's very helpful. Okay, so let's talk a minute about why we would use herbal first aid remedies or natural remedies. Because they're really, the traditional first aid kit comes with all kinds of little medications and things, and we need those, and they're great. And I would never throw them in the garbage. They're fantastic. But you have so many different things in your own medicine cabinet and in your kitchen that that can really help you in an emergency too. And if you can reach for a natural product, if it's not a life-threatening situation, why not? Okay, so why would we use these medications again? Why would we use herbs or essential oils? Well, they're very easy to access. They're easily available. You can buy them anywhere. You don't have to get a prescription for essential oils and for foods in your kitchen. And we know that they work really well, and they've worked well for so many thousands of years even. People were using these things for way before we came along. Okay, I'm going to talk specifically about these things. These are going to be the items you can get for your first aid kit, and many more. This is not an exhaustive list. This is not the all and be all and end all list. These are the regular things that I've seen in most herbal kits. In fact, I don't really see them for sale. So I'm thinking maybe it'd be a good business opportunity for somebody, maybe me, making a herbal first aid kit. But you can put these things together so much easier on your own. You don't really need to go buy. It just takes about half an hour to gather everything together and label it into a nice box. But so we do know that we spend a lot of money on medications. This is another reason to use herbals. Okay. They say in 2016, Americans spent $34 billion on over-the-counter medications. And it was $2 billion in the 1960s. And now over 50 years, we've gone up, spent so much more money, billions and billions of dollars on medications, when we can actually begin using natural and herbal products. Of course, the most popular over-the-counters are pain relievers, cough and cold medicines, allergy medications, and laxatives. And so we have remedies for all these things. And of course, we know there's drug addiction and drug abuse and long-term side effects. So another list of good reasons why to try to go more natural when you can. Okay, so fortunately, there are a lot of remedies you have in your home, and you should travel with the herbal travel kit as well. So the theory is less pills and more potions. So I have some patients that call my herbal remedies potions, and I like that. Sounds cute. Okay, so we know that nature is healing. It's going to have herbal medicines are going to have either use the plant or the stems, and they constitute a whole umbrella of just minerals and vitamins and components to the plant that are everything from anti-inflammatory to calming to restorative. And again, I'll talk about that in a second. So getting together your first aid kit, these are the most common ingredients that you will find. Okay, activated charcoal, aloe vera, apple cider vinegar, arnica, baking soda. I'm going to go over these one by one. Calendula, chamomile, comfrey, coconut oil, echinacea, Epsom salts, golden seal, honey, hydrogen peroxide, lemon balm, plantain, slippery elm, probiotics, believe it or not, valerian, witch hazel, and yarrow. Now, a lot of these are herbs, and you can go to any health food store and get these things. Or you can go to herbalists like me, or go to Jerusalem. There's a lot of, or in Jerusalem, or any city has a natural food store, and they have little bottles of what they call tinctures. Tinctures are herbs that are made into liquid form. And the way that they make them is to put the tincture in either honey or alcohol or some other substance that helps withdraw the active ingredients of the plant. So imagine you're putting a dried plant, of course, like let's take arnica or chamomile, or which is also a tea, valerian, yarrow, golden seal. These are all herbs. So they take the plant material and they crush it down into a jar, like any kind of jar or a big bottle, depending on how much you're making. And they fill it halfway with the alcohol or the honey and half with water. And then they agitate it over a few, maybe 2 months or less. And by the end of that time period, the plant material is useless anymore. So they extract the plant material and all the active ingredients are in the liquid itself. And so all the active constituents that do all the antiviral and antibiotic and antibacterial and so on and so forth, that's in your liquid. And so you can buy all these things. You can make your own also. That's a lot of fun to do. I'm going to do a class one time on how to make your own herbal medicines at home. And maybe that's the next thing that would be fun to do, because it's really, really easy. And actually you can watch any YouTube on it, but I could do my own too. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of things. Okay, in the bottom left is a picture of activated charcoal. Okay, was it? Yeah, that was on my list. Okay. So it took a lot of years of research to put all these together. Not my research. I'm just using the research that I found myself. But these are tried and true things to have in your home. And it's very, very effective for all kinds of things. So just to go through a few of them a little bit at a time. And then I'm going to provide a list at the end that I will put in the comments section. So activated charcoal is used mainly for food poisoning or kind of anything that's ingested, poisoning at all. The kids get a hold of anything in the kitchen cupboards for cleaning. You want to have activated charcoal. If a kid ingests a toxic substance, immediately you have to take them to the hospital. Okay, but in the way there, give them some activated charcoal, and there's different types made. So you want to read the directions on it and see how much. So what this activated charcoal does is it absorbs all the toxins, and then anything produced by bacteria or toxins at all any pathogen are going to be clumped together and excreted through the body. It's like a little bit of a miracle thing to have. And I don't know why more people don't have it in their home anyway, but it's get a little bottle, like a tub. It doesn't take up a lot of space and you don't need a lot of it. So keep activated charcoal for anybody who's swallowed some poisons or any child has swallowed any toxic material. And even if you're suffering from diarrhea or stomach cramps or sickness, if you take a couple, you can get capsules of this too. Take a couple capsules of activated charcoal and you'll get a lot of relief from all that stuff. Okay, the next thing I like to talk about is the aloe vera plant. It's the right-hand side in the middle. And you can get aloe vera in very different forms. You can get it as a liquid, like a gel. You want to go to make sure you get the best product, the most authentic product, because like anything in life, people like to sell you something that's all full of fillers. So you want to make sure you do go to a health food store or to a pharmacy, a natural pharmacy that can guarantee you that's 100% aloe vera gel. You can also drink aloe vera. There are aloe vera drinks. And I'll tell you, why that you want to take those. But aloe is sold everywhere commercially. Be careful, it's not mixed with alcohol and artificial colors, as I said. So aloe vera is amazing for abrasions, sunburn, minor burns, and scalding. If you burn hot water on yourself, for sunburn, you can start feeling immediate relief. Now, if somebody's burnt, of course, I believe I'm a big believer in burn shields, and it should have been on my list. I made a mistake. I mean, really, burn shield is like a miracle drug, and it really saves so many people from hospitalizations and surgeries. But if you don't have a burn shield, again, I'll do a first aid class. I don't want to get into every detail of first aid, but burns are really something I'm very concerned about. And so aloe vera is something the raw plant, when you open it up, there's a gel, naturally is the best way to have it, but not everybody has a plant in their house. So try to go find an authentic brand aloe vera without any alcohol or fillers or kind of perfumes or anything like that. And it's a gel, you can rub it right on and wrap it up, and people feel great relief. And again, if it's a third-degree burn or something, again, we have to do teaching and education on that, but you want to maybe go to the hospital if you see the skin peeling or if you see blood. But if it's just a burn that you can live with, aloe vera is what you need. Okay. And you can put it on the wounds, skin rashes, skin irritations too. And again, I was mentioned earlier that you can buy aloe vera drinks that are good for digestive healing, and it also alleviates constipation. So I guess, again, the purest form of it comes from the plant itself. But you can buy really good quality aloe vera and use it on your skin rashes and your itching. You can use it on burns, and you can take it internally for digestive calming, and it's anti-inflammatory for the digestive tract. Okay. I don't have apple cider vinegar on here, but apple cider vinegar is always a big topic to discuss. Like, does it really help or doesn't it? But you know what? It is. It helps a lot. It's a fermented food, and it's not, don't buy the cheap one. Again, try to buy the authentic ones. And I'm not here to promote anybody's brand, except there is something called Bragg's, Braggs, Bragg's, all over the world. They have the healthiest form of apple cider vinegar with a substance in it called the mother, which is the clump of stuff in the bottom that you shake and you mix it up before you drink it. But it is the most active form of the probiotic. It's a probiotic, and it's also anti-inflammatory. It helps with digestion. It's good for cleaning the house. It's good for cleaning your skin when you have a wound. Anything, indigestion, food poisoning, so much you can do. There are books on apple cider vinegar, but if you have apple cider vinegar around and you have anything from upset stomach, nausea, vomiting, to skin issues, to digestive troubles, even with the food poisoning, again, after the activated charcoal, take some apple cider vinegar. They say it helps lose weight and these kinds of things. I don't know about those claims, but I do know it helps digestion a little bit, makes it regular. So keep apple cider vinegar around too. Okay, the next thing is arnica. Arnica, it's the bottom right picture. It's a flower, and it's made into creams. It's dried up again and made into, all the active ingredients is extracted from the plant, and they make it into topical creams. And it's great for muscle pain and injury. And you can buy arnica pills. You can buy homeopathics. You can buy, and again, whenever you buy any of these things, please try to go to your most reputable place and do some research. You don't want anything with fillers or alcohol or perfumes added to it. Straight up arnica is anti-inflammatory. And this is why it helps so much with bruising. Anybody has a bruise right away, you put arnica cream on it immediately. You can also put lavender oil too, but arnica is my go-to thing for anybody who has a bump, a scrape, a bruise. They use both their flowers. The flowers are used, calendula flowers are used for a similar purpose, which I'll talk about. Arnica is always used for swelling and pain, though. Think swelling and pain, arnica. And by the way, when I was giving anesthesia, I used to work for several plastic surgeons, and they would use arnica cream on their patients before and after the surgery, because they were trying to, and they would have the patients take it internally as well. So they wanted to minimize the bleeding and bruising, because once you start doing like facelifts and things like that, it's they're very vascular. They say there's a lot of blood vessels in the face, and you don't want to send the person out just bleeding like crazy or bruised and swollen. So they required every patient, most of the plastic surgeons who are doing facelifts required that the patients take arnica homeopathic tablets and use the creams for swelling and pain. Okay, it also speeds up the tissue healing too and reduces inflammation. So there's 101 reasons for taking arnica. Okay, Calendula is a plant too that we have indigenous to Israel and other places. It's also a flower that's made into cream or topical ointment or something. Also used for post-surgery, post-injury. It's a brilliant at reducing eczema, eases allergic reactions, and it's usually cream, sometimes a body oil. Okay, so keep calendula and arnica on your cabinet, and you'll be happy to have it for all skin issues and all bruising and all swelling. Okay, the next thing is baking soda, top right. Baking soda is a great remedy. It's really good for severe heartburn and urinary tract infections, but you can also use it for burns, and you can use it for insect bites. It's the best thing. Make a paste. A little bit of water, baking soda, put it on insect bites. It reduces the itching and takes it down very nicely. A bee sting especially, okay? You don't have to measure anything. You just make a little paste. Chamomile is not on here, but I do know everybody knows what chamomile tea is. Chamomile is great. You can get it as a tincture, like I said before, in an alcohol base, or you can get it as a tea. And it's great for kids that are teething, and it's great for a relaxing drink at night. Pregnant women take it a lot when they have nausea or if they need relaxation, because it's very, very mild and everybody can take it, even pregnant ladies. And it's also great for the skin and promotes relaxation. Okay, one thing I didn't put on here was citronella oil. I don't know why I forgot to add that, but it's very, very good oil. It's good for grazes, cuts, and bruises, and also is a good anti-bug. They put citronella into candles, so the insect repellent. It's a good natural insect repellent. So that's citronella oil, which is not on here. Coconut oil is on here at the top left. Coconut oil has a lot of uses for coconut oil as well. You can use it for anything from a minor abrasions to the skin, repairing a wound. You can use it for insect bites and pet bites. You can melt coconut oil on the wound and just helps. It's anti-inflammatory and a natural antibiotic. And coconut oil will ease any discomfort or helps reduce swelling around an injury. And so it's really good to have for wounds as well. And people know too, they use coconut for all kinds of things. It's the greatest skin cream. I know a woman who puts coconut oil on her face every night. Coconut cream, and it's very naturally anti-inflammatory and very soothing to the skin. It's great for gum disease also. People do something called oil pulling, which is a way of cleaning your gums very well. It's like 10 minutes of swishing coconut oil in your mouth, 10 minutes every day, every morning. And people claim that it really cures all gingivitis and all kinds of terrible gum diseases. You can even use coconut oil as a diaper rash cream. It's just a great thing to have around. And I put it in my coffee because I have talked about this before. It's too much information, but I'll pass it on anyway because it's my show. But if you put coconut oil in your coffee every day, 2 tablespoons a day, you will have no constipation problems whatsoever because it's the greatest natural lubricant going. Okay, and it's safe and it's cheap. Oh, it's wonderful. Okay, so here you can go for kitchen spices for your herbal first aid kit. There's cayenne pepper, garlic, ginger, turmeric, and thyme. Okay, what do we do with these things? Oh, I forgot to mention echinacea. Please excuse me because that's really important. Echinacea is that pink flower there. Echinacea is an amazing thing. You have to have this in your, I can't believe I almost forgot. Echinacea is a plant that they take the active ingredients out of, okay? And it's the best go-to herbal medication for colds and flus. And because it reduces the time of the flu, and it also builds up a lot of white blood cells in your body, so it fights infection very, very well. I have echinacea in the form of a tincture in my house. I have it in the form of a capsule. I have it in the form of a cream. You can do any different thing. It treats infections. Also, it's great for ear infections, urinary tract infections. It can treat eczema. It's just an amazing go-to for just about everything. It's a tincture. You can use it anytime for all of these issues: colds and flus, skin issues, ear infections. It's a cream. As a cream, you can put it on your skin, and a lot of different. When people have allergic reactions, it's a good thing to have. You have your calendula cream and your arnica and echinacea. Those are probably the top 3 things in your kit. And then regarding a few more herbs that I didn't really go through that clearly because I felt like they're just going to be a little more obscure. There's plantain, which is a plant that people can get off the roadside, actually. It's a weed, actually, but you can get it as a dried herb, and you use it for bites and stings and infections also. And actually, it gives you pain relief if you chew on it. If you're walking in the woods and you see and you recognize what it is, you can chew on it and it gives you pain relief. So, but make sure you know before you pick up something poisonous. There's also something called slippery elm. It's good for sore throats. They can make lozenges out of it. You can make your own lozenges. A lot of these things are really fun to make, and they're good DIY projects with your kids. Okay, there's lemon balm. There's good for relaxation. Lemon balm is also called Melissa. There's golden seal. Golden seal is good for coughs and colds. And these are things you'll get at the health food store. You don't need a prescription. Keep them in the little bottles, okay, in your little kit. Valerian is good for sleep. It's good for calming, just like lavender is. And there's something called yarrow, Y-A-R-R-O, and yarrow will stop bleeding immediately. So it comes as a powder, and you could pat it onto something if you've got a. I'm not talking about something like, an amputation bleed, or something big sticking out it's stuck in an arm or a leg where you're profusely, artery bleeding. You just have to use pressure and compression and call help for help right away. I'm talking about something that's bleeding that if you cut yourself in the kitchen, it can be a severe bleed. It can, but not like, like a major artery. It doesn't help that. Another thing we talk about it having on hand is Epsom salts, hydrogen peroxide, and witch hazel. So what are we going to do with those? Okay, everybody knows Epsom salts, if you take a bath, it really soothes your sore muscles. And it also can help you remove splinters, because once you soak your hand or your foot in this Epsom salt, it kind of brings it to the surface and makes it easier to remove. Hydrogen peroxide we've had these in our homes for years, I'm sure. Everybody has. I know I grew up with it. It's perfect for disinfecting, cleaning small cuts. You can use a dropper of it and the first sign of an ear infection. And you can leave it in for a few minutes, and it can really help clear the ear, get the infection out for the little kid, and give them some pain relief. And witch hazel is people keep it by the gallons. I have a hard time finding it in Israel, actually, but we can get it. I think it's natural astringent, and it's produced by the leaves and the bark and the twigs of something called the witch hazel shrub, also known as winter bloom. And it's used medicinally for decades for everything from itchy skin, soothing itchy skin, to treating acne. And it dries things up almost like an alcohol does, but it's natural. So you can use it also for colds and flus. You can use it on bruises. So you can have vitamin C in your kit. Everything that you might have in your regular kit, mix it all together, or have two separate kits. It doesn't really matter at all. Just so long as you have all this stuff available. I'm looking for my clicker. Okay, we're going to talk about the kitchen. One thing I want to just mention. Okay, your kitchen herbs, okay? Cayenne pepper, garlic, ginger, turmeric, thyme, okay? These things are all antibacterial, antibiotic, antiviral, every one of them. And I don't have honey on here. I don't know why. But honey should be on here, too, because whether you have a scrape, or whether you have a cold, or whether you have an abrasion, all of these things can be used. Cayenne pepper, these are called warming and moving herbs. So they warm the blood up a little bit. They're a little bit like blood thinners. So you have to be careful if you're on a blood thinner. All these things, you have to be careful if you're an older person that you don't take too much of these things, because they can thin the blood. They're natural blood thinners. But just so long as you keep an eye on it. I have many patients on these things that are also on blood thinners, but they just observe how they are to make sure they don't bleed too much. It's not going to send them to the hospital, okay? What stops the bed bugs from biting? Good question. I don't really know. Itchy bug bites. Okay, I talked about that before. Hi, Batya. You can use coconut oil. You can use witch hazel. You can use. I'll review the list later there. Okay, for itching. Lavender, calendula. There's a lot of different things you can use for itching from bug bites. So the cayenne peppers and the turmerics they're highly inflammatory. And I have a friend right now who's got a very swollen knee. She's got bad rheumatoid arthritis. And we came up with the idea of making her a poultice. A poultice is taking something to, you just make a paste basically, and you put it over the body part that you want to treat, and you wrap it up and you leave it there for like overnight. Or if you want to activate the herb a little bit more, you can heat it up with a hot water bottle or something. And it's completely anti-inflammatory. So we made her a paste of turmeric. And I also used turmeric yesterday on a patient who had an open wound that had pus coming out of it. And I made a paste and put it on her wound. and burned her a little bit. She didn't like the feeling of it, but I could see right away the wound was healing, and it completely cleaned away all the pus. And so if the patient can tolerate it, it's very warm. So you can do that with ginger. You can do that with thyme on cuts and scrapes also, Batya, and the garlic. And you could ingest these things too. So if you have arthritis or if you have an infection in your body, all of these things are fantastic to take in the amounts that you need them. You can put them in teas. You can add them to your foods. And I do know that sometimes people will give it to their kids, like a tablespoon full of really delicious honey and then chopped garlic, and have them swallow it, and their cold is gone within a few hours. That's an amazing thing too. So these are all things you want to have. And you can have ginger capsules also that are good for stomach aches, upset stomachs. I don't have mint on here either. Mint should be here as well. And so if you have upset nausea and vomiting, you can do ginger and garlic, and they really take care of that problem very nicely. Garlic and onions actually are good together because they're good for symptoms of colds and flus as well. And you can use those on a wound as well. Garlic and onions, you can put them on a wound. You can put garlic and onions on a wound that's got a lot of abrasions, and it'll help decrease the inflammation right away. If you have a burn, you can put sliced potatoes on a burn. There's a lot of things. Again, this is not a first aid class, but again, since we're talking about natural products, if you don't have anything around for burns, sliced potatoes, thinly sliced, put them on the burn and wrap it up with plastic. Don't put any butter on it. Don't put any oils on it that are going to make it worse. That'll smother the burn. And actually, the potatoes extract the heat. Green clay, thank you very much. Green clay is also wonderful to use. Okay, let's talk a little bit about essential herbs, essential oils. I missed that one. Okay, essential oils. You know what, Norm? Sarit, I'm going to have you on the show sometime, and you can be. I know you're excellent at all these things. She's a real expert. So Sarit is listening in, and we're going to ask Sarit to join us the next time because she's been doing this for so many years. Okay, essential oils that I keep on hand. And this is not an exhaustive list. And Sarit, I didn't mention everything because there's just so much you can mention. But you could have like a kit that's a whole big suitcase. But essential oils, I'm a big believer in for so many different things. But the ones I keep on hand the most for my first aid kit are eucalyptus, lavender, peppermint, tea tree, and oregano. So the peppermint, of course, is going to be used for like digestion. Also can be used for headaches. If you rub it a little bit, keep it away from your eyes because it really stings. But I know if I rub it on people's temples or they put it behind their neck, their headaches are relieved greatly. I know when I had corona, I had terrible headaches, and the peppermint really gave me some great relief. It wouldn't get rid of it completely, but it gave me good relief. And peppermint, of course, you can take that along with chamomile and ginger for upset stomachs, nausea and vomiting. For cold, you want to use a eucalyptus. You can put the cold water, you can get boiling water and a couple drops of the eucalyptus and steam yourself, and opens up the breathing passages and helps with colds and coughs. Tea tree oil is known to be very antiviral, antibiotic, antimicrobial. You can put it in a little spray of water bottle and clean your kitchen counter with it. If you want a natural product for cleaning, it's actually good to use on all wounds. Tea tree oil is great to use on any kind of insect bites or wounds. What else do they do? Tea tree oil is antibacterial. Like I said, it's also antifungal. So you can put it on feet if you have fungal infections on your feet. It's an antiseptic, and it keeps germs kind of down. And you can also use it. You can use it topically, or you can take it in. You could take it internally. You can use it for cold sores and dandruff. And when you apply it, though, you always want to mix it with a carrier oil. It's a little bit strong. Okay. And some people say don't take it internally, but I know that some people do. I don't recommend it, but it can be done with caution. Oregano oil is great. It's also antiviral and antibacterial, and it's a great choice for warding off colds and flus and dealing with the symptoms. And oregano is also very highly antibiotic, antiviral. So we know that we can use it for topically too. It burns though. You have to be very careful if you're going to use it on a wound. People will not like you for doing that. Okay. Okay. So I don't want to go into every single thing that's out there in life because I just don't have even the knowledge base for everything. But I do know that I have a working knowledge of the basics. And if I can pass them on to you, that's great. You probably can't see this, but I'm going to post these onto the comment section. This is what you want to put with your first aid kit. And I'll read it for you because I'm sure it's very small. I didn't realize how small it was. But what you do for bleeding, you're going to use yarrow and witch hazel. For breathing, have on hand eucalyptus, peppermint, golden seal, marshmallow root, thyme, mullein leaf, licorice, things I didn't mention, but you can buy them in the health food stores. Bee stings, baking soda, plantain, echinacea, bruises, arnica, witch hazels, lavender, burns, aloe, calendula, vitamin E, potatoes, calming someone down in an emergency if somebody's having a panic attack. That's very important. Lemon balm is called Melissa. Lavender to have them just have it spritz in the air or have them just breathe it in. Valerian is another wonderful herb for that. And there's something called Rescue Remedy you can buy at any drugstore or any health food store, and it's a combination of homeopathic herbs that help people calm down immediately. I know my kids always carried their little bottle of Rescue Remedy when they had a big test. For colds and flu, echinacea, oregano, eucalyptus, golden seal, peppermint, garlic, onions, and honey. For digestive stuff, keep on hand mint, ginger, chamomile. And again, you don't have to always have like mint leaves. You can buy mint oil. You can use any peppermint essential oil, ginger essential oil, or pills or capsules. Chamomile, you can get these in all forms. Apple cider vinegar for nausea and vomiting. And of course, activated charcoal for ingested poisons. For ear infections, you can use garlic oil and hydrogen peroxide. Eye infections, you have to flush the eye if there's an infection, or flush the eye. Be careful, you should wear gloves. Or if there's somebody gets a burn, people get burned their eyes from a chemical, you want to flush their eyes out as much as you can. Just wash, and then you can make a compress with chamomile tea. There's something called golden seal that we use for breathing, but it also works for eyes. Eye Bright is made specifically for eyes. It's like an antibiotic and anti-inflammatory for the eye. You can make chia seed paste. So you can get a teaspoon of chia seeds with some water and make a poultice, what they call a poultice, like a glob of it, and put it on the eye. That'll help soothe the eye too. I got that twice, eye infections twice. Fever, okay, depends on the situation. All fevers do not need to be taken down. That is something that are having to be, they're dangerously high, like I mentioned before. If you have a 40-degree fever or 104 fever and it sustains itself for over an hour, you need to look into that and call your doctor or take your baby in to be looked at or something. But if your person is shivering and cold a little bit, a little bit of ginger and cinnamon and green onion and garlic will actually help with the shivering and help break the fever. It's more natural. If they're a hot person, if they feel like hot, some people feel chilly, they have to have their blankets, but they still have a fever. And there are some people, sorry, if you feel really the hotter symptoms, you want to go with more cooling fruits and peppermint. Okay. Again, basic pain, you can take turmeric pills, valerian, peppermints for headache, as I mentioned. For sore throat, honey, slippery elm. For sprains, arnica, valerian, St. John's wort. Sunburn, you want to use aloe vera and coconut oil. For toothaches, clove oil, salt water. And wounds, insect bites, yeah. Okay, there's insect bites, mostly lavender, coconut oil, but you can use witch hazel, a lot of things that I will add. For wounds, turmeric, calendula, coconut oil, hydrogen peroxide, thyme, and honey. So with all that said, I hope that you got a little bit of an idea that it's a great thing to do to start your own herbal first aid kit. And I will post these things on the sidebar. And don't forget your regular first aid kit, and try to get yourself educated a little bit on emergencies, because that's really important. If you can't help somebody by treating their wounds or being their first aid person, you can be that person to call for help, and you can be that person to keep everybody calm. And that would be the biggest thing you can do to help. If you feel like you can't touch someone, or you can't heal somebody, or you can't, take care of a bleeding wound or anything like that, CPR. If you can't do that stuff, you're going to do so much by just making that best phone call, the best place you can, which is going to be 101 in Israel, 911 in America. Or you can keep them calm and stay with the person. So don't forget, that goes a long, long way. So good luck with your herbal first aid kits, and thanks for joining me today. And I hope you have a healthy, wonderful, wonderful week.